It now appears that voters will have only 7 state questions to decide on November 8th. As many as 13 issues were trying to make it to the ballot, but time has run out for this election cycle. A year ago, the legislature approved Senate Joint Resolution 31, which put one of those state questions on this year's ballot, and now even supporters are shy about endorsing it.
Until this year, only Texas was executing more death row inmates than Oklahoma. But this year, Oklahoma will have used the ultimate punishment on only one inmate. For now and probably the rest of the year, all executions are on hold because of a grand jury investigation that produced a scathing report on how state officials were carrying out the death penalty. Recent polls have found that while a majority of Oklahomans still support the death penalty, more than 50% also support using life in prison without the possibility of parole as a substitute. But on November 8th, voters will be asked to decide if State Question 776 should be approved. It would make changes to the state constitution on the issue of the death penalty. Bob Ravitz is the chief Oklahoma County public defender.
Empowers the legislature to do something they already have the ability to do. I mean, I don't see any reason why we're voting on a bill like this.
Among other things, State Question 776 says the death penalty shall not be deemed to constitute cruel or unusual punishment.
But if the United States Supreme Court or any federal court declared it unconstitutional, then this provision is totally meaningless.
A year ago, state lawmakers approved Senate Joint Resolution 31, which put State Question 776 on this year's ballot. There were only 10 no votes in the House, and it was a unanimous vote in the Senate. Repeated attempts to contact House sponsor State Representative Mike Christian were never answered, and the Senate sponsor, Senator Anthony Sykes, has a long-standing policy of not granting interviews to public radio or television reporters. On the website Ballotpedia, Sykes is quoted as saying, "We have an obligation to the people of Oklahoma to ensure that we can effectively enforce the death penalty. Oklahomans strongly support the death penalty, and it is critical that we protect our ability to enforce it." State Senator Greg Treat was one of the 44 state senators who voted for Senate Joint Resolution 31. He now offers a less than enthusiastic endorsement.
It's not something that I've passionately pushed or anything, but I wanted to have the voters have their right to have a voice in November. And Senator Sykes was talking about all the different threats around the country on death penalty and convinced me that it was a good idea to put this to a vote of the people.
At the time of the legislative vote, the Department of Corrections had already botched the execution of Clayton Lockett. A few months later, corrections officials used the wrong drug in the execution of Charles Warner, and then the execution of Richard Glossop was halted after state officials discovered they were about to use the wrong drugs again. A grand jury investigation issued a scathing report finding that several state officials were, quote, flippant, careless, cavalier, and dismissive of established procedures intended to guard against the very mistakes that occurred. Before the jury issued its findings, 3 state officials directly involved in the execution investigation resigned their jobs. Ryan Kiesel is executive director of the Oklahoma ACLU and a longtime opponent of the death penalty. He believes State Question 776 takes attention away from the real issue.
The same government that has the state capitol building crumbling around them. We've got infrastructure falling around our ears and bridges and roads. We have schools that are operating at 4 days a week. We've got rural hospitals that are threatened with closure. This same state government, do we really want them to have the authority to stick a needle in your arm, pump you full of poison until you're dead? That's the question that we really need to be trying to answer right now.
Kiesel says the state's current use of the death penalty has become a very secretive, untransparent process.
And when we begin to draw that curtain open and look behind it, what we see is just the kind of actions that, if we weren't talking about life and death, would almost be comic. It's cartoonish, the kind of mistakes that have been made.
With State Question 776 on the ballot for November 8th, Attorney General Scott Pruitt is still waiting for a report from the Department of Corrections saying that it can fully comply with the findings of the grand jury and conduct executions properly and legally. 150 days after he gets that report, Pruitt says he will begin seeking new execution dates. Meanwhile, former Governor Brad Henry is heading an independent investigative panel looking into Oklahoma's use of the death penalty. Their report is not expected until early next year.